trout rods, salmon rods, striper rods, halibut rods, downrigger rods, lead core rods, spinning rods, and more. If you want a high quality, high performance rod that won't let you down out on the water, go to fishhuntshoot.com and check out our selection of high quality, high performance fishing rods. Howdy folks, Cal Kellogg here. Well, it is July 1st. It's 6 a.m. I am up at French Meadows Reservoir. I haven't been here in several weeks. The surface temperature is 65, almost 66 degrees. Let's talk strategy. I really don't know what to expect, so I'm rigged up with a pair of grubs. Running shallow, I got a 4-inch Fisheye Pro Dodger trailing one of my Firecracker, really sparkly, really chrome grubs, and that's running at about 7 feet. On the downrigger, I've got a rainbow pattern turbo flasher, and I've got that paired with one of my pink cotton candy colored grubs. So medium speed, 1.8. I'm dropping down to 1.5. I might bump it up to 2 miles an hour. I really don't know where the fish are located. I'm at the upper end of the lake, the opposite end from the dam. Behind me is the river channel, and what I'm doing is I'm kind of zigzagging in and out from shore, kind of covering this secondary area off the river channel, hoping to intercept any fish that have moved up shallow, that are cruising back to deep water, or fish that are kind of up shallow, up medium deep, looking to feed. Prime time of the day, prime conditions. I got a little chop. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm putting in a little time here. I'm going to put in 45 minutes to an hour with the grubs. Going to kind of explore with them. I'm going to keep it in that 1.5 to 2 mile an hour speed range, and we'll see what develops, but I'm pretty confident, and so is Lucy. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm Cal Kellogg. Just a little bit of fishing strategy. That's kind of what I am thinking here in this late spring, kind of early transitioning to midsummer pattern. And of course, under my seat, what do I have? I have night crawlers. When the going gets tough, I'll break out my flashers, break out my blades, and put on a threaded worm. But honestly, I think these grubs are pretty much as good as a worm. Not as good, but pretty much as good. So anyway, we'll find out here. Fish on that cotton candy grub, and he's a fighter. Cotton candy grub and the turbo. Feels hefty. No drag on that rig. All I got on there is a turbo flasher, so feels like a good fish. Oof. He's running a little bit. Oh yeah. There we go. Beautiful brown. Look at that. Wow. What a beautiful fish. Get this guy out of the net and show him to you. Look at that beautiful brown. What a dandy fish. Man, I'm going to get him back in the water. That is just a beautiful fish. Got him good. He wasn't getting away. He got a nice piercing out of that deal. Anyway, what a beauty. Oh! That's why it's nice to have the rubber net. One last look. There he is. Here he comes. And there he goes. Howdy guys, Cal Kellogg here. Check this out. Look at that. See that? Now you can't say you haven't seen Bigfoot. I've actually got one of my favorite hoodies on here. I picked this up in Fort Bragg a few years ago just because it had a picture of Bigfoot on it, which I thought was kind of cool. It's chilly morning here in the California foothills. And that noise you hear, maybe you hear it, I don't know if you heard it or not on the microphone, it's generators humming. We have no power, but we're all pretty used to that up here in Forest Hill. We've all got generators and they're all running. We've all got the Wi-Fi going and whatnot. So not a big problem. We just got our fingers crossed that there is no fire, and hoping for rain, but there is no rain in the forecast. But this cool weather, it bodes well for the trout fishing, and I'm getting some excellent reports. But we'll do a report later on in the coming days here. Today, I want to talk about flashers. Had a couple viewers ask me if turbo flashers are the only flashers I use now, and they also wanted to know the best ways to rig them. So, first questions first. I use several different kinds of flashers. Every once in a while, I'll still pull the traditional willow leaf metal flashers, or I'll pull a set of these Max Lure flashlights, the Mylar Flashers. These are top notch. If you want to put out a ton of flash and a ton of vibration, these are the way to go. Very little drag, they're very effective, and what I've always said, what I've always found, if you're fishing with a buddy, you know, you got the option of running 3 or 4 rods. I like to run a set of flashers right down the middle, right out the back of the boat. Now, whether or not that rod that's towing this, you know, this full, you know, set of flashers is getting hit or not, it's pulling fish in from either side of the boat. And I find that when I'm running a set of flashers, I tend to get more hits on all the rods in this spread. Not always, but very often that seems to be the case. So, and once again, these Max Lure flashlight flashers, they are revolutionary. They are just super, super cool, very effective, very low drag. They work for kokanee, they work for trout, they work for kings, and you can get the two-blade version, which I believe are called Hot Wings, but it's basically the same thing, except it's only 2 blades. So a lot of options there, and they come in different colors. These are the silver ones. I tend to favor silver, but they come in pink and chartreuse and whole line of different colors. But when it comes to the Max Lure flashers, tend to go with the silver and do very well. Now, in terms of the turbo flashers, you know, there are a lot of options. It could be as simple as taking your main line, pass it through the turbo. Let me hold one up here for the guys who don't know what a turbo is. You could just take your main line, pass it through that turbo, look at that thing spin, and then put on a bead, a snap, put on a leader, and it will spin right on your main line. Works great, works fine. It does slow you down if you're going to do it that way on the water, because you got to thread the line through there and all that kind of stuff. What I prefer to do is, and I just grabbed the stuff from my guide box. This is stuff we're all going to be running this winter when we go out and target trout, and I do some instructional trips on, you know, various Northern California lakes, primarily Collins Lake. But what I like to do with these is pre-rig them. And what this is rigged on, this is about, a 6 or 7 inch, probably, more like 6-inch piece of 20-pound fluorocarbon. I have just a standard swivel up top. I have 1 bead, then the turbo, couple more beads to act as bearings where that turbo is gonna spin right there like that. And then I have just a standard issue snap. So how this would work, I would just take the snap on my main line, because I tip all my rods with that bead chain trolling swivel. You guys know that. You've seen that many times on the channel. I just snap right into that swivel there, and then I snap my leader back here, and it might have a grub, a fly, a spoon, a threaded worm. The thing I really like about the turbos is they will spin at very low speeds, but you can also troll them fast, put out a ton of vibration, and you know, they come in a lot of different colors. So there's the chartreuse and orange one rigged, and here's a chrome version rigged, and it just gives me the option, you know, having them rigged up this way. Here's a fire tiger. Just gives me the option of changing them out, adding them to the spread, taking them out of the spread. And if you want more vibration, you can rig multiple turbos on 1 leader. Right here I've got one of my yellow or chartreuse with the orange dots teamed up with a fire tiger version. I've got 2 on there. I could easily have 3 on there, and I've just stacked beads in between to give it a little color and to give it some separation. And again, swivel up top, snap down at the bottom there, and you know, double the turbos, double the vibration, double the flash. So that's how I rig them, and I think that would do well for you to have them pre-rigged in your box. It just makes things more efficient on the water. I absolutely hate to waste time on the water, and this is something that kind of came out of my deer hunting. I've been a stand hunter, whether I'm in a ground blind or up in a tree stand, for years. It's a very effective way to hunt, but I used to go out, I'd set my stand in the morning, I'd go back to camp, I'd have my coffee, eat my lunch, wait around for a while, then I'd go back out in the woods and sit in the stand again. Well, all of a sudden the light bulb clicked on and said, I'm wasting time, I'm going back to camp to make coffee. Now I carry a little stove, I carry all my stuff, and I literally sit my stand from dawn to dusk, and you'd be surprised how many animals I get right in the middle of the day. The same thing is true of fishing. The more time you have your hook in the water, the better your chances of hooking up. So I don't like to spend a lot of time when I'm fishing fumbling around with tackle trying to get a turbo on my line, or maybe I'm running these, you know, yellow and chartreuse turbos, and I think, oh, a chrome one's, you know, that's the answer. I want to be able to snap that into my line and get that line back in the water as quickly as possible. It's simple. More time in the water equals more fish on the end of that line. That's one of the mistakes I often see guys making offshore when we're lingcod fishing. We'll get to the lingcod grounds, Farallon Islands, Fanny Shoals. I mean, these places are 2.5, 3 hours from port. So you've got a 5 to 6 hour round trip ride. And that means your fishing time is going to be limited. You're going to fish for about 3 hours. Guys always ask me, how do you catch those big lingcod? Well, I use big baits, but I've got all my leaders rigged and ready. I've got all my sinkers rigged and ready. I've got my bait all ready to go. It's all right there. If I break off or lose a weight or catch a fish or have a torn up leader, I get that off, get another big bait on, and I get it back down to the bottom. In the case of lingcod fishing, bottom time is just absolutely critical. You've got 3 hours to fish. You want a big bait 6 feet off the bottom, as many minutes as you can have it down there during that 3 hours of fishing time. Same thing when you're trout fishing. So anyway, I'm done with that rant. I would pre-rig my turbos just like that, have them in your box, rig up 2 or 3, maybe some doubles like that, and you are ready to rock and roll. You're going to be very efficient on the water, and you're going to make the most of each and every trip when you're out targeting those trout. And let's face it, for most guys, man, those minutes on the water are golden. You got a job, you got a family, you got to fix those stairs on your house. I did that yesterday. My banister came off. It was insane. So you got to make the most of that time out on the water. I hope this information helps you guys catch more and bigger fish in the coming months. We are right on the verge. Actually, we're not on the verge anymore. Trout fishing has busted loose in the mountains, and the foothill lakes are going to follow closely behind, especially if we continue to have this kind of cool weather. Anyway, we're almost into November. It's time, guys. If you're looking for trout gear, if you're looking for turbos, you know where to go. Top off that tackle box. If you need a rod, you know, fishhuntshoot.com. I'm out of here. I got a bunch of errands to run. I actually got to meet up with Wes and hand over a bunch of gear to him. So you guys have a wonderful day. I will catch you next time right here on YouTube. And remember, if you hook up, yell, fish on, baby. Anyway, I'm Cal Kellogg, having a little bit of fun here. I will see you folks later. Thanks, guys.